From what you have heard earlier, you would have observed that the yoga practice is also a social welfare work at the same time. The predominant trait of the human being is to misunderstand everything. Anything is said, he will distort and take it in the wrong direction. Again and again, the old habit of myself doing yoga practice will persist, as if it has nothing to do with anybody else in the world. If you have properly gathered the harvest of the earlier discussions these days, you would have been able to give up this wrong notion that meditation is an individual affair. It is not only a cosmic affair, it is also a social affair. In that sense, we may say a yogi is the greatest social welfare worker. Nobody can do so much good to the world as a yogi engaged in meditation can do. You must know very well the value of work depends upon what you think in your mind. There are millions of social welfare organizations in the world, many dedicated to society's welfare. But actually, what they do with their hands and feet is not so important as what they are thinking in their mind at the time of their working. What does a social welfare worker think in the mind? Let me do good to people. And what kind of good are you going to give? You may give them clothing, food, water, arrange for electricity in their houses, also provide for medical attention. But why is a person so interested in doing this kind of social welfare work? There will be a very unintelligent answer, a response to this question. Just to serve. I like to serve and be of assistance to people. Help. Remove poverty, ignorance, and disease. This is what I am attempting to achieve. Now, what do you get out of it by your hard work in the social welfare circles? I get satisfaction. What kind of satisfaction are you deriving? I feel that I have done my duty. That is a great satisfaction. How long will you be able to provide the necessary means to a person? And after all, what have you given to that person? Maybe you provide him with some academic education and the means of creature comforts of the body. Even after these attempts on your part, two consequences may follow. Either eagerness to work for the welfare of people, you may come in conflict with people. For some sentimental reason, society may not want you anymore. To your own surprise, they can retaliate for your interference with a little sentiment of theirs. Though you had a good intention of educating them, making them better human beings. All the great social welfare workers of the world were killed by the very people whom they served. They either shoot the man or crucify him or throw him out of their jurisdiction. Very few people go without this encounter in the society. Reasons for this kind of unfortunate retaliation from people against the very people who have done them good work. These reasons also may be of various types. In the enthusiasm to do hard work for the welfare of people, you might not have properly understood their feelings, their needs, and their faiths, which may be religious. Most of the religious people are fanatics. They will cling to some god, some temple, some village deity. If you interfere with that, all the good work that you have done to them is null and void in one day. History is a record for you for your appreciation of this tremendously tragic consequence following from even well-intentioned good work to people. You all know world history, national history, and you might have read what happened to these great stalwarts of social welfare dealings. This is to say that the work that we do for the welfare of people in a purely secularistic manner of outlook will finally end in some despair to the people as well as to your own self who have been doing so much good work. So much I have done, after all, people are so ungrateful. I go to ashrams and read the retired life. Politicians become social workers when they get fed up with political machinations. They say politics is dirty. I will do good work to society. Social workers are again in a state of despair towards the end of their life. They want to go to ashrams. The reason is that they have not approached the problem of life properly. A sentimental, nationality bound attitude is so limited that it cannot cater to the essential needs of the human being. Every person has a soul. This is totally neglected by social welfare workers. Nobody knows if there is a soul in a human being. Nobody asks, how is your soul? It looks like a ridiculous question. to common mind. What are you asking? How is my soul? But as is your soul, so is your mind and body. So without the education of the soul, the education of the mind and the body and social connection is not going to bring you much of a benefit. The yoga student, the yogi who practices meditation, understands society much better than politicians and social welfare workers. He knows the secret of human existence, not merely the operations of the mind and the bodily relations of people, but the yogi, through his investigational capacity, knows what a human being really needs. As we have observed earlier, a person needs everything. If you give something, you will feel that something else has not been given to you. And what has not been given to him will cloud his satisfaction that something has been given to him. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is often buried with their bones. Whatever good you have done to the people will be buried with your bones. But the wrong that you have done will be remembered forever and ever. This is human nature. You might have done 90% good, but 10% something unpleasant. People will remember only the 10% and the 90% is gone to the winds. You have to understand people thoroughly before you deal with them. Only a yogi can know the secret of human nature, in which the yogi also is included. So the moment the yoga meditation commences, a wind of potential comprehensiveness blows from the heart of the yoga practitioner and touches through his deep feelings the corners of the earth. It can satisfy even the gods in heaven. Nobody has seen gods. We have seen only people and things in general. Meditational technique being transcendental as well as personal and social gets related to all these things at the same time, and your meditations will stimulate the atmosphere around you, people around you, the world around you, and it will stimulate even the gods seated in their thrones. In the earlier stages of the stimulating activity of the meditational process, there will be a surprise tumult both in earth and in heaven. When you do something, nobody knows what you are doing and why you are doing it. Because the intention of your meditational techniques is not known in the beginning, there is a disturbance. created. As before we have a cool and balming rainfall, there is a tumultuous uproar in the skies, and thunders and lightning strike from all sides, disturbing us and the whole atmosphere, only to end in a great satisfaction of rainfall. In a similar manner, deep meditations, I am not talking of ordinary shallow contemplation, stimulate the vibrational contents of the whole atmosphere. Everything will sense what is happening somewhere. In the earliest of stages, there will be a kind of oppositional atmosphere created around you. This is because the sense organs, which have been habituated to a particular way of operation, when they are made to retrace their steps to their source, will act in a manner like the ocean that is pushed back from the shores with a powerful wind. Huge waves will rise in the ocean because of this gale, striking the ocean waves back towards its center. There will be a catastrophic rising of water waves, which will dash with their double force on the shore, deluging the villages, uprooting trees, and inundating the entire area. But that is only in the initial stage. When the blow of the wind ceases, they retrace their steps, and then the ocean maintains its original position. You might have read in the Puranas and epics and yoga, shastras and scriptures that gods themselves feel disturbed by your meditations. Though you may not expect to see gods directly in your meditations, their actions can be seen manifest in the behavior of people in the world. The God is not an isolated, far-off divinity, astral in nature. It is an operative force in an ethereal region which can descend into the lowest region of the earth. So that a person just before you, around you, can act towards you in a manner as the gods in heaven, disturbed by your meditation, may react to you. They can tempt you. You may say gods have not come, but you must know people have come. They are the grosser media employed by the higher powers to carry out their intentions. Ugly things will look beautiful. Tasteless dishes will look extremely delicious. A little thing in front of you will attract your attention. You may like to possess even a pencil, though earlier you have renounced the whole world. A little petty object which will not draw the attention of an ordinary householder will draw this yogi's attention because of the subtlety of the operation of the mind and the subtle ways of the retaliation of the sense organs. Varieties of difficulties will arise. These are not to be feared at all. If you are fully aware even before the causes of these appearances, if you know what kind of illness you have, you will also be prepared to know all its manifestations through the body. Unprepared minds suddenly exerting their will force only and compelling the mind to meditate without proper understanding and discrimination preceding the act of meditation will have to face problems. They can be thrown back to their original bound life in the world. But when you go deep into the structure of your meditational process, you will be touching your own heart. Finally, it is the heart that meditates, not the mental conscious process merely. Where your heart is, there you also are. And so if the heart is elsewhere, the mental operations in the form of meditation will yield no benefit. If your heart rises to the surface of activity in the form of meditation, it will touch the souls of everybody else also simultaneously. There will be a turning of the tables round, and all opposition will become cool down like a cessation of a tempestuous wind. I this mentioned to you about the Amrita Manthana process where desired result, which is nectar, was not coming up. Deadly contradiction arose to cause you a sense of defeat, as if you have done something utterly wrong. After that, you will have a sight-tracking process going on in your mind, which will direct you to pay excessive attention to things which look like achievements and attainments in yoga. They are the jewels that rise from the ocean. Finally, you have the nectar. Thus, when you are seated for meditation, have a clear mind first. Viveka precedes Vairagya and Mumukshutva. Understanding is at the back of your renunciation and your aspiration for liberation. This understanding should guide you always. All your performances should be based on understanding, says the Bhagavad Gita. Buddhi yoga upashritya vachitta sotam bhava. Establish yourself in Buddhi yoga, the yoga of understanding, which means to say the operation of the higher reason. There are two types of reason, the lower reason and the higher reason. The lower reason is always attending upon the reports of the sense organs and the tellings of the mind. There is nothing but the lower reason to say anything new apart from what the senses say. But the higher reason warns you, mentioning to you from moment to moment that there is a higher than what you are, higher than the world, higher than people, higher than even the gods in heaven. With this surety in your mind, sit for meditation. When you are tired of sitting for a long time, do not continue the meditation. There will be ache on some part of the body, on the knees, on the joints, on the back, on the spine, on the neck, even a slight headache may be there because of erroneous attention, erroneous concentration, not properly analyzed. At that time, stop the meditation. Lie down for a few minutes. Wash your face. Stroll on the veranda for a few minutes. Take few deep breaths and then again relax yourself for some time. Then sit for meditation. You should not do anything continuously for all the time of the day. नाट्य शनदस्तु योगोति न चैकांत मनश्चनतः न चाति स्वप्नशीलस्य जागृतो नैव चाति. Persons who eat too much also cannot meditate. Persons who starve themselves also cannot meditate. Those who sleep throughout the day and night also cannot succeed. Those who do not sleep at all, they also will not succeed. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Harmony is called yoga. Balance is yoga. Balance between the inner and the outer. The extrovert and the introvert conditions of the mind have to be balanced in a awareness of a larger individuality of yours. People who are busy working always without even thinking themselves are half persons, only 50%. They are the extroverts. Those who have nothing to do with anybody in the world and only brood inside their own ideas in themselves in the corner of the world are also 50%. Because they have severed a part of their connections with the world by this overemphasis on one side, either internally or externally. You should neither be an introvert nor an extrovert, but a balanced person, which will produce a sense of cheer in your face, a smile, a kind of satisfaction which a healthy person has after a good meal, for instance. Such a satisfaction will arise in your mind. On what do you meditate is a question repeatedly will come before you. Devotees of God take to a form of God. After all, you have to worship only a God. The idea of God is mostly made to arise in your mind by our study of scriptures. Either you have read the Vedas or the Upanishads or epics, Puranas, or you have read the Quran or the Bible, or some such thing which has compelled you to form a particular idea of divinity. According to the cultural background in which you have been brought up, even considering the ethnic impressions at the back of your mind, take to the concentration on that form of the supreme creator of the universe. Every religion believes in a creator, but every religion differs in the idea of the creator. We should not try to impose upon ourselves any new thought alien to your swadharma or swabhava. Swadharme nidhanam shreya paradharmo bhayavaha. Don't try to introduce into your mind a concept that is alien to your belief and your faith. Take to that particular form of the higher ideal, which is satisfying to you because it is your faith and your religion, your culture, your faith. My God is in front of me. God is not necessarily standing in front, but the habit of the mind to conceive everything as existing outside persists even in divine contemplations. Bhagavan, come, I want to see you. This is how devotees offer their prayers. We would expect that divinity, God Almighty, to present Himself before you and stand before you in the very form in which you expected Him to appear before you. Conceive this form in your mind for as long a time as possible. If you cannot conceive anything in the mind because of the fickleness of the mind, have a portrait of that conceived ideal of your divinity in front of you. Concentrate on that. From head to foot, from foot to head, contemplate on all the parts of this wondrous manifestation before you. Why do you meditate on this divinity? Because it is all power, all knowledge, all blessing. Then feel in your heart, Bhagavan Sri Krishna is standing, Rama is saying, Christ is there. Whatever the God is in your mind. Tremendously, deeply adjust yourself to the feeling that beams of compassion and power emanate from this divinity as if the great God is blessing you and a ray of hope, divinity, power and solace is projected from that palm of that great God and it is flooding you all over. You are bathed in the waters of knowledge, in the satisfaction of the sweetness of a nectar. And you feel a sense of security that nobody can shake a hair of your body. Because here is the protecting force before you, ready to offer you whatever you want. This is the initial stage in which you can adjust your mind to the concept of your Ishta Devata. But is your God only standing in one place? Because anybody else also, anywhere in the world can meditate in a similar manner, and that very God of yours will be appearing there also before you. Then, in a second step, you raise your thought, your feeling to the presence of this very divinity in many places at the same time. In all directions of your room, you will find this divinity gazing at you from all directions. Many are the forms of this great God of yours. As the sun can manifest himself in millions of rays, so God can manifest himself in millions of forms. This is a step in advance over the initial concept of God standing in front of you, alone before you. Then take to the third, higher step of feeling the presence of this divinity not pervading merely your room or the nearby atmosphere, but even all the skies and all space. When you look up, you see nothing but this flood of the forms shining like brilliant stars everywhere. Wherever you cast your eyes, you see only that. In the Mahabharata, there is a event described towards the end of it, when Kauravas were overthrown and even Duryodhana fell. He had no friend. Dronacharya's son Ashwathama was his bosom friend. Ashwathama was full of anger against the Pandavas because they caused the death of his own father and destroyed his very bosom friend Duryodhana, abolished the whole Kaurava army. Ashwathama had a cruel feeling in his mind. He saw one day when he was brooding as to the method that he has to adopt. He saw in the twilight during sunset crows attacking a corpse, and even animals which were about to die. Very good. This is the lesson for me. I shall follow this technique. He entered the camp of the Pandavas in the night. Fortunately, the omniscient Krishna knew what was going to take place. He has told the Pandavas not to sleep in the camp that night without giving the reason. Only Draupadi's children, 5 in number, were sleeping there. Ashwathama and his henchmen entered and massacred all the existing ones. But before he entered, that was his intention, he found that it was not an easy affair. When he was about to enter the camp, he found a tremendous figure standing in front of him. He is extended from the earth to the heavens. fierce looking. Nobody could know what it was that was standing. Fire was emanating from his mouth. And the great poet Vyasa says in the poem that by the sight of that form, even the mountains will break to pieces. Such a terror it manifested itself. When he was just entering to do this heinous deed. Not only was this terrible to look at, millions of Krishnas started emanating from every pore of the body of this being. Whole Akasha was filled with Krishnas. The very thing that he hated and would not like even to think in the mind. Everywhere, round about, top and bottom, all sky was filled with Sudarshanachari, Sri Krishna. Suddenly, it cooled down. The reason behind his appearance is not our subject now. It's the Lord Shiva, he was standing there in that terrible form to prevent him from entering at a particular hour. Later it vanished with a boon, the reason for which is very long. I am not going to dilate upon this. You can read the Mahabharata yourself. This is how you have to conceive your divinity present everywhere, all places. Suppose everywhere you see stars only, without any gap between one star and another star, it is a flood of light everywhere. In this way you contemplate your divinity, your ideal, your Rama or Krishna or Christ, whatever it is. Then go a step further. If everywhere this divinity is seen, and where are you sitting at that time? You also have gone to the stars. You have become one of the stars. You have become one of the forms of the divinity. When the divinity has flooded the whole space, do you think it has excluded you? It has transformed you with the magical touch of its manifestation everywhere. Divinity. God is meditating upon himself. I am what I am. Dot this little Mr. I, Mrs. I. I need not repeat to you what this I is. It is the eye of God, the only eye existing everywhere, Supreme Aham Brahma, as the Upanishads say there. This is a very high state of meditation, the ultimate to merging completely, in which you do not know what actually happens to you. Several stages of your ascent have been described in the Yoga Shastra. Don't be under the impression that it is all so easy as it has been described here. Your physical nature, your bodily impulses will prevent you from taking steps of this kind. You have to be very austere in your thinking and detached in your personality from all contacts in the world. And learn to be satisfied with your own self. Each one of you should know, are you satisfied in your own self completely and you don't want any contact with anybody? I am sufficient to myself. That sufficient individuality only is capable of taking such steps in meditation as described. So the warning prerequisites come to our mind once again. Yama Niyama, Viveka Vairagya Shatsampat Mumukshutva. We should pave the foundation of cleansing before the meditation commences. A dustbin cannot meditate. There must be a clarity of a crystal. It is possible if the dirt of Kama Vasana, Krodha Vasana, Lobha Vasana are melted down from their tamasic condition to the sattvic condition of transparency of spirit. Then only meditation is possible. This is the reason why the Yoga Shastra tells you meditation is not the first step. The earlier stages are not to be ignored. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, about which we learned something yesterday. Dharana, concentration comes later on. Jhana is very far. Though meditation is what you should practice every day, you must also have paved the ground of all the previous stages in your mind. Either you go stage by stage, or with your power of understanding and will, transform yourself to all the earlier stages also at the same time, become a giant of understanding. Either way is possible. One way is called ants process, another is called birds process. Pipilika Nyaya or Shuka Nyaya. Pipilika is the ant. It goes slowly, little crawling, but it will reach its destination one day or other. This is how you go slowly practice yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana for years and years. Then go to meditation. This is ants process. The other is shuka, bird. At once it flies to the point where it wants to reach. You can compress all the stages into your personality if you have the power to do that. That power will be there in you if you have no desires in your mind. Subtle longings of the previous life that you led are the objects that you have seen. So up to you it is to decide whether you are an ant or a bird. But bird has two wings. Ant has no wings. So you have to develop the wings of Viveka and Vairagya so that you may fly like the bird or a shuka. Both things are possible. And in fact, you have the capacity to do both these things. But if you are tired and you are not sufficiently competent, don't endanger yourself by breaking your legs running fast too early. I have pointed out two methods for you. The ant method or the bird method. And further on we shall discuss more details. Hari Om Tat Sat.